Hey, today I got a simple little project here. It's just going to use one piece of wood, 12-inch board, 12-inch wide, 6 inches high, inch thick or so. I don't know until I plane it actually, but we'll say 1 inch. We're going to be doing this with Vcarve Pro and using Clipart. So we got Vcarve Pro version 10. That said, Vcarve or Aspire will work as well. As I'm sure you're all aware, simple project like this. So we're going to have our width of our wood is going to be 12 inches. Our height of our board is going to be 6 and 1 inch thick. And we're going to double side because we're going to put some keyholes on the back. Zero off material surface, datum will be centered. We're going to flip it horizontally. Going to hit OK here. Okay, now we're going to go into Clipart. We're going to make key hooks with a little wildlife scene here. So we're going to go into Clipart here, and in Design and Make, I got a few of these wildlife packages here, all the different models. But here in this Western Saloon one, we have this assembly here. It's the 2 Winchester rifles, good enough for John Wayne, good enough for me. So we're going to use this kind of pre-laid out with a little bit of a sign plaque, whatever the heck you want to call it there. So we're going to close this out and we're going to go into drawing. And first thing we'll do is center this to our workpiece. Then we're going to select size object. And for layout purposes, we're going to make this 12 inches wide. Simply for the to simplify the math, because we're going to put some partial circles here at the bottom. And if we put 4 of those at 3 inches, that's 12 inches. It's simple. So we're going to just use our arrow key. We'll shift this down a bit. That's pretty good. Close this out. We'll go into our circle tool here. And like I said, we're going to use 3-inch circles. We'll use 4 of them here. So we'll start on center because it'll snap right on center. So that's what we're looking for. We'll close that out. And with this selected, we'll use our arrow key. We'll bring it up. It's flush with the bottom or close enough there. So we're going to move this. We're going to go into our Move Selected Objects. 1.5 inches. Half the diameter of our circle will bring the edge of our circle onto our center line. Because we're looking for 4 hooks, this has worked perfectly. So we're going to copy the circle and paste it. That'll be our second circle. We're going to move it relative to its current position 3 inches. So there we have our second circle. We're going to paste again. This time we're going to move it relative -3, -3 inches, which brings it to the left. And then we're going to paste one more. And you guessed, this will be -6 inches. Simple as that. Now, while we're here, we need center marks for our holes for our hooks. We're going to pre-drill some pilot holes here. So we'll make this 0.1. I ain't exactly sure what size I'll drill it, but for layout purposes here, any size of circle will do. And then when we get down on the machine, it just depends on the size of bit you put in the tool and in the machine, right? So we can close this out. Now we'll hit Control A, which will select everything except for our assembly. So we're going to hold our Shift key down, select that. We're going to go back to select object size, and we'll make it 1 inch smaller or so. And that'll give us room. We're going to have to index this when we do the backside and such, and this gives us room for our toolpath, and it'll all fit quite nicely. So now we're going to deselect all of this, and then we're going to reselect just the assembly. In modeling, at the top here we have import a component, change the properties of your objects. Here we have a create a vector for a boundary. So we're going to select that. That gives us a vector on the outside of our assembly, which matches up perfectly with our bottom vectors for our hooks. Now with our vector around our assembly, we're going to get rid of some of these lines here. We don't need all these vectors. So we're just going to take our trim tool, simply clip all these out of here, get them out of the way. Close that out. We're going to select this vector because we're going to want a vector in here for when we do our 3D finish toolpath. We'll work out to this vector. So we're going to go into offset. We're going to offset inward. 0.1 inches looks good. So we'll offset inward. And now we have a vector we can, when we run our toolpath for 3D finish pass. Now we're ready to finish the outer vector here, and we got to trim some more stuff out of here. So we're going to go to our line tool, take our leftmost portion of our vector here, and go down to the outer left edge of our circle. We're going to hit our space bar here, and we're going to reselect here, do it again on the right. Now in this instance, we're going to right click. That not only does it complete our line drawing, it also deselects line drawing tool. We're going to go back to our trim tool. We're going to start trimming away these vectors we don't need for our outer vector. So we're just going to continue trimming all across here. Get rid of all these vectors. Come on now, clip it maybe. There we go. Okay, now we're going to check our outer vector, make sure it's one complete vector. And it looks like it's complete. We can check it here. We have one open vector. Apparently we have a space in there, but we can join it. Now it's closed. One closed vector. That's what we want. It's always worth checking that out before you move on. Now we're going to add some clip art in here to make a wildlife scene. So we're going to go to our clip art tab. And we're going to add something in here for texture, because just for appearance and texture, make it look a little nicer. But before we get started, we're going to tile this. So this way we have use of our 3D and our 2D views. You can tile side by side, but because of the layout, above and below is the best for this particular task. So we're going to look here for something for the background. Here we have mountains, but I don't really care for that one too much. Here's one, so I think this will be fine. Okay, we're going to zoom out here and we'll resize this close to our size of our model we're working with here. I will make it a little bit smaller here yet. I think if we just stretch this out, it'll be fine now. A little lower. Okay, there we have it. The only issue is it's consumed our rifles. This is not exactly what I'm looking for. I'm just looking for texture, so we're going to lower this down. We're going to go into modeling. First thing we'll do is we'll pick our assembly. We're going to go in here to the change the properties tool. And as we can see, our shape height is 0.15. Let's go with 0.2, make it a little deeper. And then we're going to select the mountains we just placed in there. And I'm looking for something just for the texture. I don't need something like that. So I'm going to make this quite a bit lower. Make it 0.02 and we'll see how that looks. Hit our space bar to speed that up. There we have some texture in the background. Looks like mountains. And our rifles are in full view. Everything looks good there. So that looks pretty good. So we can close this out. We'll go back into our Clipart tab and we'll select some more items. What we have here, we have some trees right here. Let's select these. We'll put some trees on either side. Size this back down to fit into our model. Okay, our 3D is a little slow catching up here, but we're getting there. I think we'll make our trees a little higher. We'll just use our up arrow key. That's just coming out of the edge of our model. I will make this just a little larger. And a little higher on the arrow key. I think that's pretty good. We'll click off the model. There we see that it's in behind the guns, the rifle stocks. Okay, now we'll put a tree or two over here, but we'll find something different here. Dead trees. Oh, we have a sun here. We can always use a sun up here. Let's zoom out a bit here. Okay, we'll resize this. That might be good. I'll make it a little smaller yet. We'll zoom in here a wee bit. Size this down. And in this instance, it's quite easy to see with our 3D view versus our 2D. It appears as though our rifles and such are behind the mountains when they're actually not. So we'll select off of the image, off of the model again. That's a representation of what we're going to have. That looks pretty good. Maybe a little smaller. That'll do. Okay, now we'll find some more trees here. Not ducks. Here we got some trees. Here's a pine tree. You can place this on either model. It doesn't matter. We'll zoom out a bit here so we can size this down. Okay, we'll wait for a second here for 3D to catch up. There we go. We'll slide them to the right a wee bit more here. Okay, that's room for another tree. Now, in modeling, if we right click on here, go combine mode, you see it's to merge. That's allowing all of these different models to merge into each other rather than one on top of the other. They merge into each other according to the height laid out in the modeling properties tool. So we'll go back to Clipart. We'll grab another tree, another pine tree, keep 2 pine trees together here. Okay, now we'll make them a little bit smaller. There we go, I think. Now we'll just, with our shift key, sorry, not our shift key, our arrow key, we'll shift it down till the tree is just into the border. That looks pretty good. Let's click off now. And there we have a couple of trees. Got a little space here. What I always like to do, no one else may know it's even here. Let's stick a little bird in there, just a small one. Okay, now he's kind of consumed by the mountain. We also have down here this little handle, which brings up our properties tab. And we can add a little height here, or we can add base height. Base height brings your model forward in the other models. Let's go 0.01. That'll do. I think we'll make them just a little bit smaller. Bring them forward with the arrow key. Don't want to work maybe because this is here. Let's try it again. That's pretty good. See, no one else except for you may even know it's there. Now we're going to put a couple of animals here. Got elk, deer, let's stick with elk. Okay, let's use this guy here and put him down here, facing towards the center. We'll size him down to fit nicely. That might be a good size. We'll check this out here. I'll give it a little more room here. We'll bring it down just a little bit more. That should be all right. pretty good proportion. Okay. Now let's grab another elk. Here's another one facing the other way. Put them here like these guys are talking to each other or something. Well, let's try that size. Okay. We can select this elk, and with the arrow key, we'll bring him down just a little bit. I'll bring him back up one. Okay, let's take a closer look at this guy here. He can come up a little bit. We'll select him up with the arrow key. That looks pretty good. Okay, I think we're good to go here. Okay, so we're going to go over to our toolpath. In this instance, I think we'll just simply use our 2D image, F key this to center. We're going to select our vector around our model, 3D model. Oh yeah, we're going to go through here. It's 0.8 below. That's all good. Okay, we're going to machine out to our selected vector, which is this one here. 1/16 ball nose, I'm sure will be fine. We're going to raster offset. Offset starts in the center and works back and forth. I always end up with lines there. With raster, I don't get that. So we'll start here. It'll start on an edge and work its way across. Okay, now we'll preview the selected toolpath. That looks pretty good. A little bit of texture in the background, a sun, a little pheasant hiding in the trees there. That looks pretty good. Okay, we'll go back to our 2D view. And we're going to select the outer vector. We're going to put a chamfer on there with a 90-degree V-bit. So we'll start with a cut depth of 0.1 and a 1/4 inch 90-degree V-bit. Do it one pass on the line. Let's calculate this toolpath. We'll preview the selected toolpath. That looks pretty good. Nice little chamfer bevel around the edge. Okay, now we will drill our holes. Hold our shift key down and select all 4 of these pilot holes. We'll go to the drilling toolpath. 0.5 depth. We're not going to bother with pecking. Dwell, that means it'll drill down, it'll stop at the bottom of the hole for a half a second to help clean it out before it retracts. We'll preview this toolpath, make sure we're getting what we're looking for here. Okay, that looks good. Now we'll go back to 2D and cut it out. That's all there's left on the top side. We will profile. We will cut 1 inch deep. we will use a 1/8 end mill. I got a good compression bit down there. Oh, 1/4 inch. No, that's not good. End mill 1/8. There we go. This time, of course, we want to go outside. So 1-inch cut, 1/8 end mill, 8 passes. With a compression bit on solid wood like this, I don't use tabs. I do use tabs on other material and other bits, but with that 1/8 compression bit, when it goes around that sawdust packed in behind it, I don't feel the need to use the tabs. If you feel it's necessary, by all means. We will okay, we're going to go back to 2D now. We'll do our profile cut. We'll select the outer profile. Close this. We'll go into our profile tool cut. We're going to cut 1 inch deep. We're going to cut outside. We're going to use a 1/8 end mill. I got a 1/8 compression bit down there. Works really great. I'm not going to use tabs because I found with this thicker solid wood, with that compression bit, it packs the sawdust in behind the bit so tight. I don't need tabs. If you feel you need tabs, by all means, if you're not using a compression bit, if you're using an upcut or something. So we'll calculate this. We'll preview this. And there we have it. That said, we need to go back to drawing, 2D, bottom side. We're going to put some keyholes in the back. We're going to go to Drawing tab, get our line tool. Just a short line here is all we need. Right click to get out of there. It is selected. We're going to copy and paste. We're going to go to Move Selected Objects, 3 inches. So we have 6-inch centers. We're going to copy and paste again. We're going to go -3 inches. Apply. Now this gives us 3 keyholes. I don't know if anybody would hang something like this off of a single center keyhole. It only takes a minute. We can give them 3 keyholes. If they use 1, fine. If they use 2, better. So we're going to go to our keyhole toolpath. We're going to 1/4 inch depth, 1/2 inch keyhole. We can go a little deeper because we have 0.8 inches there. We'll go 0.3 inches deep. Okay. And because we're going to cut the back first, we're going to need some index holes. And I always use 0.3. I have 5/16 dowels. And they're very tight in a 0.3 hole. And that's what I like. I like it to be tight. We're going to mirror this, flip about job center, and we're going to create a copy, horizontal, vertical, horizontal. We have 4 perfect holes. We will run the tool path here to align. We're going to call this align. We'll pocket this out. Half an inch depth looks good. End mill 1/4 inch, that looks good. We'll calculate this. Again, we will preview. Okay, now our keyholes, as we can see, do not interfere with the model in the front. Okay, there we have it. Key hook is something everybody can use. I have one myself. They're easy to make. Once the layout is complete, you can make several of the same if you like. Change them up. Once it's laid out, our machine time here it's about an hour and a half for the 3D finish. The rest is all pretty quick. In fact, all tool paths runtime is an hour and a half. So that's a pretty quick project. It only uses one small piece of wood. We'll run down now and we'll run this on the Laguna IQ and see what it looks like. See you down there. And got this 2-foot piece of maple. So I figured I copied and pasted the key holders. And I'll make 2 because I got a sale coming up here in December just before Christmas. They usually go pretty quick. So I doubled it up. That's what's going on here. Run this through the joiner and the planer. And I decided on the back where my keyholes are. I was going to write on here 6 inches center to center. I know it's not necessary, but it only takes a minute. But I'm going to go ahead and get started here. And we get this made and see what it looks like when we're done. Okay, got all the keyholes. My alignment pins are drilled. I'll remove this, re-drill my index holes into the spoil board, flip it over, set it back up, and we'll get to carving. Okay, I got my my pieces turned over. Got the 1/16 ball nose in here. We're gonna get to carving this and see what we got when we're done. I took time here. It's going to be a good 2-hour run here. Cleaned up my linear rails, my ball screws. Put a little bit of lithium white grease on there as per the recommended by the ball screw and the linear rail manufacturer. So your equipment is only as good as your maintenance, and if you take care of it, it'll take care of you. So it's worthwhile taking a little time and maintain your equipment. So we'll go in here to UDisk file. Okay. 3D finish carve. Let's get this sucker rolling. Take a minute here to read this larger file. And we're off. Okay, we got the 3D carving is all complete here now. So this time we're going to put in the 90-degree V-bit, and we'll do the profile bevel. And then we can drill the holes, and then we'll cut out the profile in this little project. Okay, here's the hooks I'm going to use in these key hooks. So I got the digital caliper. We're going to measure between the threads the shaft size here. 0.94ish. Yeah. So I got this set of wire gauge drill bits, and it has down here the sizes of the bit. So here's a 0.93, 0.89. That'll do. I'll put that in. Okay, I got my bit in, touched off. We're going to run this drill toolpath, and then all we got to do is cut it out. Slowed it down. The slowest my machine will go is 6,000, which is still pretty fast for a drill bit, but it'll do. Okay, our key holders are done here. This one needs to be cleaned up a little bit more and then finished up. What I'll use here to clean up all the little fuzzies in here is this Scotch-Brite bristle disc on the Dremel. But if you haven't got one, these cheap little wire nylon brushes work good. You get in all these little corners. Even with the bristle disc, I use this, get in these little tight areas. And it'll clean it all up pretty good. Get all the little fuzzies out for you. So this is better, but this works pretty good. And here's the other one. It's got one coat of shellac on it right now. I'll install the hooks after I get the fourth coat of shellac on it. But here I have what I ran yesterday was three smaller ones. I got a Stagecoach. This is a wildlife scene that comes with the Clipart packages. It's a canned wildlife scene, so I just put it in this frame here. This one is the cattle roper with a little fencing here, and yeah, they're pretty popular. They go pretty quick, and everybody can use one. So I could have done two different designs here, but it's kind of in a hurry today, so just copy paste. So yeah, Clipart is an effective way to make a creation of your very own. So thanks for watching, enjoy, and please subscribe.